Hello Internet, it's me again. Now, let's see. I made a part 1, but where's the part 2? Well, if you saw the title, you would already know that this is a part 2. Yay! Now let's see. In our first video, we talked about the two gods, Perun, the god of thunder, and Veles, the god of the forest. I think it'll be about right to talk about why they hate each other, like I hinted in the video. And tell me in the comments below, which is your favorite story? I know I have mine, but I would love to know what your guys' opinion are. So, let's not dilly-dally and get right on to the video. This story is going to take place in Nav. Well, you probably wondering what Nav is. Just think of Gardenide in Slavic mythology, minus the two naked people and Angry God. I mean, there will be an Angry God, but we gotta wait. But you might be wondering, what are we doing in Nav? Well, as you can see, there is going to be a wedding between two gods, our boy Perun and Dodala, the goddess of the rain. And she also owns a bunch of heavenly cows. You'll see why I mentioned that. That's going to be very important. Foreshadowing. But beside the obvious foreshadowing, I should probably also tell you guys that every god was there for the wedding. Even the god Veles, who had a little problem with the wedding because he was actually into Dodola too, and wanted her for himself. Yeah, that's why you don't go to weddings, buddy. But instead of being there to support your fellow god in a marriage, he decided that later on, when she goes into a forest for a nice little forest walk, he's gonna go and try to, well, take her. So as she continues on her walk, she notices a man that's totally not Veles, who offered her a lily to smell. So when she came in to sniff the flower, well, let's just say it was super effective. Then when Veles was coming in to take her away, he heard a baby whine and realized she just gave birth when she got knocked out. And that's how babies are made. After some thinking, he decided that he should take the baby for himself, and he would raise him in the underworld. Oh, and just imagine how mad Perun was when he found out about this. When he found out what Veles did, he basically waged war against Veles, and they fought for days and days until finally Perun won and knocked Veles into the underworld permanently. I mean, kinda, he can still wander around the earth, but you know, kinda kicked him out of heaven. Now you might be wondering, what about the baby? Whatever happened to him? Well, don't worry. He actually raised out to be a good god by the name of Yarlo. Tell me if you want me to do a video on him. He's a very interesting god, and I would love to see if you guys would want to see more about him. But for the moral of this story, don't trust people with flowers because they will knock you out and take your babies. Next story! So we cut to Veles being all depressed about being kicked out of heaven. I mean, to be fair, what do you expect would happen? He stole a baby! Anyways, he was being all sad about it until, in twisted turn of fate, he got a visitor. The name of Baba Yaga. An old witch. Not a very good one, too. After when he told her all of his problems, basically he kind of wanted to get revenge on Perun. You stole a baby! So after some thinking, she came up with an idea, and she suggests that they steal the heavenly cows. Because, you know, that's a way, way, way worse crime than stealing a baby. Plus, she also added the fact without the cows, the rain cannot come to the earth, causing the whole world to come into a drought. Veles, though, wasn't all up for this plan. He realized that it would be wrong to steal the heavenly cows. I mean, the mortals need that. They'll be screwed over. But again, he also thought this would screw over Perun even more. So he agreed to it. So you might be wondering, how are they gonna steal some heavenly cows? Well, with one simple spell. A frickin' whirlwind! Yeah, whirlwind, baby. And this is how they were able to steal the heavenly cow. I won't lie though, Baba Yaga. I will feel very bad for the mortals, even though I'll make sure that Perun will suffer for this. But, you know, good thing we're gonna do this together. We'll have each other back. Right? Baba Yaga? So after realizing that she completely dropped out of the story, sounds familiar, he realized that he had to go deal with the cows with himself. So after some searching, he did eventually find a suitable cave in the underworld. Meanwhile, the gods had to keep on looking for the cows. They had no idea where they went. But, like I said earlier, no cows, no rain. So it will cause a very, very bad drought. So the mortals prayed for two gods. They prayed for Perun and Savrog. Hey, he's back. After some investigating, they were able to find out the culprit behind this mysterious cow disappearance. And they went straight to the underworld, or the gates of it. They wanted to wait for Veles to come out so they can talk about it. But literal hours passed by and Perun got impatient, so he wanted to F up the whole underworld. But Savrog pointed out if he did that, then the whole tree would go down because the underworld is basically the whole thing keeping it together. So they waited for a long time, then snake attack. Veles actually became a snake to attack them both, but luckily for Savrog, as Perun fought off the snake, he was able to sneak past Veles and get into the underworld, looking for the cows. But for Perun, he had to go fight Veles for a long time, for days even, until Savrog was able to find the cows and told Perun where to shoot, freeing the cows. Then Perun quickly finished off Veles, defeating him again. But I believe the lesson of this story is don't trust old ladies. They'll try to convince you to steal heavenly cows. But anyways, to the next story. Do you know that old saying, if you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours? Well, the same thing kind of happened with gods. If you give the gods something, they'll give something back. But what would happen if you don't give gods anything? Well, specifically one god doesn't get anything. That would be Veles in this story, because throughout the time, he hasn't got squat. He hasn't got so much squat, his fire almost went out. And that's pretty embarrassing for god standards. So, Veles thought that the mortals needed to be punished. But how? Well, the most reasonable thing is to basically lock up all the water in the world. You know, simple. This obviously threw the world in chaos because now all the water's gone. So they prayed into the next solution, Perun. I'm starting to see a pattern here. Veles was able to see Perun heading right towards him. So Veles had to think fast and turn into a snake and hid into an oak log. But Perun already knew where he is and started heading towards him. He obviously just set the log on fire and waited for him to surrender. And when he did, he told Perun that he locked up all the water, so there was really no point, and he should just let him go. When Perun did this, Veles ran off immediately with the key to the lock. So Perun just basically punched it, breaking the lock instantly. And just like that, all the water returned. I mean, I doubt that. There'll probably be like a giant lake and they probably had to organize. Let's not think about it too much. And actually, that's why I love these stories. They're just so bizarre and only ancient civilizations can think of these kind of stories and I love them. And I'm glad you guys love these stories too. Slavic mythology is just a very interesting pantheon, but it's very sadly not being recognized. Mostly the Greek and Norse pantheons are being recognized. And again, it just warms my heart to know that people care about this, same way I do. So thank you for watching this, and again, I'm just really glad you enjoy the Slavic pantheon. To be honest, third favorite pantheon I have is Slavic. Egyptian number one though, and Celtic comes in second. But anyways, tell me, what would you like to hear more? Would you like to hear some Egyptian myths? Or how about some Shinto myths? Or would you even like to hear some myths about like cryptids? Because I am planning to do some videos on that. And even some Lovecraftian kind of myths. I always want to get on that subject. But let's see what you guys can think of. Leave a comment below. Subscribe if you want to. I won't force you. Hit that bell to get notified about my uploads. And I'll see you all next